Hello everyone, my name is Kent Graham. Welcome to today's video. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to do another 7-round mock draft today. This time I've decided to highlight the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is kind of like, I think this is a good choice because it's a team that I haven't got to talk about a lot other than the second round of the mock draft video I did last week. And you don't hear too much in the news about teams like Pittsburgh, the Rams, the Bears. Well, you hear a lot of news about the Texans, but for the wrong reasons. But basically, the idea is to try to get some of the non-first-round teams involved in this process and to sort of figure out what they're looking for in the draft this year. So, a couple of notes to talk about for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As I've already mentioned, they have no first-round pick, and that's because of the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade. Now, if you're happy that Minkah Fitzpatrick is on your team, which you should be, then you're pretty satisfied that you don't have a first-round pick. Yeah, you wish you did, but at the same time, you have Minkah Fitzpatrick, so it makes up for it. Also, in the news recently, I heard a rumor, unconfirmed rumor, of course, that there's the possibility that the franchise has, quote-unquote, gotten what it wanted out of Juju Smith-Schuster, and there's, a likelihood that maybe they don't extend his contract once his rookie deal expires. And there's precedent for that because a lot of times with their big name wide receivers, they let them move on and don't give them big time money unless your name is, of course, Antonio Brown. So that's just something to think about as we go through this process in the next few weeks. Do I think they'll probably keep him? Sure. Juju Smith-Schuster is a great player, and it's somebody that you could obviously build a wide receiver core around. Also like Deontay Johnson and James Washington. And the last footnote that I have there, could this be Big Ben's final season in Pittsburgh? That is remains to be seen, but it's starting to feel like the walls are closing in on Ben Roethlisberger's career. It's been a good career. He's definitely going to the Hall of Fame, and he's the one remaining from his draft class of 2004, him and Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers, still with the same team. Eli Manning is now retired, and Phillip Rivers is in Indianapolis. Given what we saw last year without Big Ben, this team is really in trouble if they don't have the next step or the next generation ready to go. And we'll talk more about that here in a minute. Okay, so for team needs, according to the Mock Draft Network, we have defensive tackle, interior offensive lineman, quarterback, offensive tackle, edge rusher, running back, wide receiver, and corner. You may or may not agree with all of those, but that's what the Draft Network has listed. Also, if you'll notice that the board is kind of small today, we only have 6 picks to work with. A lot of their draft capital for this season was spent in the trade of Minkah Fitzpatrick, which I've already talked about. And they also spent some capital moving up to get Devin Bush in last year's NFL draft. So the defense, I think, is pretty good. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time building this offense again. And so I'm going to start making picks. And as with the 7-round mock round draft video that I did with the Browns, this is a simulation that's run on the Draft Network's mock draft simulator. So I took control of the Steelers. I made all their picks. The computer chose every other pick in the draft, all 255, all other 255. So if you don't agree with this, it's likely a situation where these were the best guys that I could get at the time. You know, if Christian Fulton isn't available, I can't take him. That's just the way the draft works. All right, so let's begin. So round 2, pick 49. I had a lot of choices, a lot of good players at this spot in the top 50. But one area that I think definitely does need to be addressed in this draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be corner, because Joe Hayden is getting long in the tooth, and they've finally gotten rid of Artie Burns. So for this first pick, I went with Damon Arnett, the corner from Ohio State. And it's looking like that this might not be a possibility anymore, given the fact that in the last week, Damon Arnett's draft stock has climbed. And I'm not sure what to attribute to that, but the Vikings have shown interest. There's teams in the top 30 that have shown interest. So might be hard to get Damon Arnett at this spot, but in this simulation, he was available. And I think that it's good to start thinking about getting a corner now. The most pressing need, of course, is defensive tackle after Hargrave left in free agency to Philadelphia. But at the same time, the this is a big draft. I think this defense is pretty well solid, but I do want to get a really solid piece for the secondary because you are in the same conference as Lamar, or same division as Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and soon to be Joe Burrow. So you definitely got to think about upgrading your pass defense. Now, moving on to round 3, pick 92. This is going to be the draft pick that a lot of people are going to be upset about, and I will try best to explain myself. So for this pick, a number of different options, but I felt like quarterback was the time to do it. And I am going with Jalen Hurts from Oklahoma. Now, other available players at this pick were Jake Fromm. I think the only day 2 quarterback not available was Jacob Eason out of Washington. And had he been available, I would have taken him. But I think Jalen Hurts is a really good person, really good quarterback to consider at this spot. And here are the reasons why. First off, the backup quarterbacks you currently have on your roster, no offense to anybody who's a fan of this team, but they're pretty trash. Mason Rudolph and Delvin Hodges showed flashes of brilliance last year, but I don't think, this team almost made the playoffs despite the quarterback play, so that tells you how good this roster is. I think if you had a little bit better quarterback play out of Mason Rudolph and Delvin Hodges, you probably would have snuck in, but it just didn't materialize. Mason Rudolph, to me, looks like he's not going to be the project that people thought he was. I don't think you're going to be able to lock any more potential in him than he has already shown. His potential, I think, has been maxed out, and cut your losses and move on. Delvin Hodges, thank you for playing in the league. You definitely earned yourself roster spots in the future, but you're definitely not a starter in this league, I'm sorry to say. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with Ben Roethlisberger, who is a myriad history of injuries and is definitely on his last legs. So you really need to start thinking about this year, potentially if he goes down again, and next year, potentially if he retires. So I went with Jalen Hurts because a lot of people are going to say, well, he played for Oklahoma. He picked on Big 12 defenses. It's not that big a deal. Yeah, but he also played really good at Alabama. And if it had not been for the presence of Tua Tagovailoa, who is going top 5 in this draft this year, he would have finished out his career at Alabama and probably would be talking about him being a first-round pick. But it just didn't materialize into that situation. So I like Jalen Hurts a little bit more than I like Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm, I think, kind of has a noodle arm. And he's going to need to be very precise with his decision making. He's going to need to be quick on his reads, and he's going to need to be in the right offense to succeed in this league. Whereas Jalen Hurts, I think, has a little bit more athletic ability, a little bit more of a rifle arm that he's going to be able to have success in this league. So I like Jalen Hurts in this spot. Please don't hurt me, Steelers fans. All right, I'll make up for it with this next pick, round 4, pick 124, interior offensive lineman. I'm going with Solomon Kinley out of Georgia, interior offensive guard, and love this pick. The fact that he is available at this spot is an absolute crime, so why not take him? Definitely could use an upgrade on the interior of the offensive line, and I think he's one of the most underrated players in this draft. He should be going a lot higher. All right, next I have a gadget player, if you will, and this is going to be Lynn Bowden, wide receiver out of Kentucky for round 4, pick 135. And the reason I went with him is not necessarily to be considered a Juju Smith-Schuster replacement in the event that they let him go. It's more or less to bring back that Antoine Randall element of the offense that they had long ago when they went to the Super Bowl and whatnot. PFF has Bowden listed as a running back. Other places have him listed as wide receiver. It doesn't matter. He's a slash player. He could be a running back. He could be a wide receiver. He can even throw the ball. So he'd be able to be used in sort of gadget plays, double reverses, throws back to the quarterback, double reverse throw on his own. So I think he would be a very niche element to the offense, but he would be a welcome element to the offense because, a Randall L type is somebody that can definitely spark plays when you need big plays in big games. So that's why I went with Bowden there at that spot. For their next pick, round 6 picks 198, I went with running back Joshua Kelly out of UCLA. I know Steelers fans have said that they are pretty happy with the depth of the running back position on this team right now, but James Conner has a really hard time staying healthy. and he's on this team pretty cheap right now. That may or may not stay that way. And Jalen Samuels and Benny Snell are really good backups. And I think Josh Kelly would be a good addition to this offense, just because he would be another dynamic to compete and push Jalen Samuels and Benny Snell a little bit further in the preseason and whatnot. So that's why I went with that route. A little bit more depth in that position, especially with the injury concerns. James Conner. Last pick, round 7, 232. Pickings are slim, but I just finally decided to fill a need. I went with Garrett Marino, the defensive tackle from UAB. Probably one of the last better defensive tackles in the draft that probably should go drafted. He's more of a pass rusher than a run blocker, so he has a niche use, once again, just to use that phrase. You're going to be rotating him on obvious passing downs only. And yeah, that's all I really got to say about Garrett Marino. So that is the draft that I have concluded for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hard to fill every need when you only have 6 draft picks, but I really like the Solomon Kinley pick. I really like the Jalen Hurts pick. And the Bowden pick excites me too. So those 3 of the 6 excite me the most. And I went with not a position of great need, but best player available in round 2, pick 49, with Damon Arnett out of Ohio State. All right, so that's the video. Let me know in the comments below if you think I did a good job or what you would have changed. Obviously, the one that's going to catch the most flack is going to be Jalen Hurts, but I am ready for it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.